Hello, thanks for joining me for this video. I'm Monica Urbanski, Data and Resources Manager at AASHE, the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. This video is part of a series where AASHE staff highlight data quality tips and resources for credits in the latest version of STARS, the Sustainability Tracking, Assessment, and Rating System. Today, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know to submit high-quality and accurate STARS 2.2 content for OP5, the Building Energy Efficiency Credit. During this video, I'll be referencing a few different resources that will be helpful as you work on this credit or others. If you're new to some of these resources, there is an article and website navigation video in the STARS Help Center under Basics, which provides additional guidance. This credit recognizes institutions that are improving the energy efficiency of their buildings. There are two parts to this credit. Under Part 1, institutions earn points for having annual site energy consumption that is less than a minimum performance threshold. Under Part 2, institutions earn points for reducing total source energy consumption per gross square meter or foot of floor area compared to a baseline. We encourage institutions to pay close attention to this credit because it is part of our standard review and it has one of the highest error rates in STARS. Please review criteria closely and check for these issues before submitting. You can find a summary of issues in one of two locations, either the Help Center credit article or the STARS 2.2 review template. For this video, I will direct you to the review template. First, let's discuss outliers. There are two common outliers that we find under this credit. Score outliers occur when the credit score is higher than what we typically expect. Numeric outliers occur when a number is unusually low or high for a particular numeric field. Score and numeric outliers often go hand in hand, in that if a score is unusually high, it is often due to an outlying number or percentage reported in a numeric field. In terms of checking for score outliers, it is highly uncommon for institutions to earn the full 6 points or close to it. Institutions typically earn between 2 and 4 points for this credit. Looking at our test campus, we see that the score is fairly low and in line with what we typically see under this credit. If a high score is reported, we recommend checking closely for other outliers or some of the issues we'll be discussing next. Occasionally, institutions earn high scores under this credit due to exemplary performance, for example, having a high rate of renewable energy on campus. If that's the case, we recommend clarifying this in the notes field at the bottom of the credit. There are two types of numeric outliers that are commonly found under this credit. While most institutions typically report correctly on imported electricity, it's common for institutions to overlook energy consumption from stationary fuels. Under the energy consumption tables for this credit, it's worthwhile checking to make sure no outliers are reported. You can do this for imported electricity, electricity from renewable sources, and then finally, stationary fuels. A zero or other low amount reported under stationary fuels and other energy products used on site is highly unlikely, since most institutions use natural gas, fuel oil, diesel, or coal for heating or other non-transportation purposes. If a low response is valid for your institution, just be sure to clarify why it is valid in the notes field. Another common outlier we see under this credit involves low responses under performance year heating and cooling degree days. Typical responses for both figures are in the thousands, but amounts for institutions in very mild, warm, or cool climates may be in the hundreds. The Help Center article for this credit includes an FAQ with resources on determining heating and cooling degree days. One final note about outliers. This credit asks for performance year figures first, then baseline figures, whereas similar credits in STARS ask for baseline and performance year content side by side. This makes it more challenging to compare change between baseline and performance year once you've inputted your numbers. You can still do a side-by-side comparison, To do that, I recommend opening the credits in two tabs, having one tab open under Performance Year Energy Consumption, checking those numbers here, and then going to the tab for the same credit that highlights baseline year energy consumption, and you can do your comparison that way. Alternatively, you can check the metric used in scoring for Part 2. The percentage reduction in total source energy consumption per unit of floor area from baseline is automatically generated after all of your numbers are in. While we want to see reductions between baseline and performance years, drastic reductions, something like 50% or more, may result in data entry errors. In this case, we see a drastic reduction of 92%. So as a reviewer, I would request clarification about the high percentage, unless this is already clarified in one of the reporting fields. Another area to double check is the amount being reported under Site Source Ratio. The Sampling and Data Standards section of the credit language includes a table that highlights the site source ratios for different regions in the world. U.S. institutions must report a site source ratio of 3.0, while Canadian institutions must report 2.0. Institutions in other countries can report their own national or regional figures if they differ from what is recommended in the technical manual. Note that the required site source ratios have changed since version 2.1, so when you are updating a report, you will likely need to revise this figure. The next two issues I'll discuss deal with data inconsistencies between credits. First, total energy consumption figures for the performance year between this credit and OP6, Clean and Renewable Energy, should match. This field is automatically generated under OP5 when you fill out the preceding numeric fields. And the total can then be copied to OP6 by clicking the Copy from OP5 button. Finally, gross floor area and energy-intensive building space figures between OP5 and PRE4 should be equal if they are based on the same time frame and building space. Performance year building space is found somewhere near the middle of the credit. Baseline year building space is found further down. By filling out the energy-intensive space under PRE4 first, you can then copy those exact figures into OP5. For either of these inconsistencies, figures in OP5 can be slightly lower than those reported under OP6 or PRE4 if outdoor energy from parking garages, stadiums, or similar structures is metered separately and excluded under OP5. As always, valid discrepancies are okay, but should be clarified under the Notes field. Be sure to check out the Help Center article on building energy efficiency to read about FAQs, review common issues to watch out for, and access reporting examples. To recap, here are the main issues to watch out for under this credit: score, numeric and comparative outliers, not calculating site source ratio correctly, and data inconsistencies for gross floor area or total energy consumption that are not clarified. Thank you for watching the Building Energy Efficiency video. If there's still something that you have questions about, please post it in the STARS community or reach out to stars@AASHE.org. Thanks, and best wishes on your STARS journey.